I really want to know the answer to this because personally, and this is from someone who doesn't play Tekken like that. Oh, by the way, as soon as New Year's starts, I don't know when this video is gonna be going up, but the date right now is before New Year's. When New Year's starts, I'm gonna go learn how to play Tekken. So definitely expect those videos. And if you're a Tekken, if you're really good at the game, please let me know in the comment section of those videos what I can do better because I really want to learn how to play that game. I play a lot of fighting games, and I haven't played Tekken since seriously since Tekken 4 or 5. One of those two. So it's been a long time. It's been a long time. I want to get back into the swing of things. Going to play as Steve. So yeah, definitely help me on those videos. But anyway, personally, even as someone who just watched people play this game before I actually start playing it now, I thought the DLC was good. Personally, I didn't know what the hate was like when he was announced. The love and the hate was almost on even playing fields, and I'm like, really? Granted, I thought Clive looked more of a Soul Calibur character, but seeing his gameplay now, and I've watched other people use him, Maximilian, other ones, he's really good. He fits well for Tekken 8. He still has that Soul Calibur feel, but it still worked for Tekken. But not just him, but Heihachi coming back, Eddie, all the other. I thought it was a good season pass, whatever you want to call it. But it seems like a lot of people are saying this was an L DLC bundle, and they hope season 2 is better. Why? Again, I don't play a lot of Tekken. I watch a lot of Tekken, so I know, the core. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments section because his reveal and his release had mixed reviews. But then not just him, but the other ones had more hate than love. Some of them. I remember Heihachi came out, and I forgot the girl's name, Lydia. Overall, it got more hate. I saw it got more hate than love. Now, I am one of those people that are saying that I'm one of these people that say we are in a really people just hate things for no reason era. That's why I'm very careful where I hear stuff from. Like when people tell me something's terrible, garbage, all this stuff, I always want to look back at how you look at other things and just see, are you just saying it for popular reasons because it's popular to say something's trash, or do you really mean it? Like, have you put time into it to know, And so I'm always cautious of when people hate stuff. But now I'm seeing people who actually love the game throw shade to this DLC. And I'm just like, and they don't have a history of just hating stuff just because. And I'm like, dang. I mean, it was no problem to me, But granted, I'm just starting out playing online of Tekken. So, I guess my take don't mean much. But still, like, I don't know. I'm curious. What is it about this DLC? That's what this title says. Hold up. Why Tekken 8's DLC is so hated. I'm curious to know. And shout out to Bugard MG. Sorry if I said that name wrong. Let me like the video now. But I'm interested in seeing what his take is on it. This was the first video that popped up when I was researching this hate for the DLC. But let's see here.
With the recent addition of Clive from Final Fantasy XVI joining the roster, we now have all 4 characters in the Season 1 DLC pass for Tekken 8. And let's just say, this has been a very, very controversial season. It honestly feels like Season 1 has been going on for a lot longer than just a year.
It does seem like it's been a while. I will admit that.
Leak thing, where the whole community believed the final 2 characters would be Marduk and Falcon Ram. We had the whole situation where you weren't able to control your replays with a DLC character you didn't own, essentially making their cool new way of learning matchups locked behind a paywall. We had the bombshell of Heihachi actually coming back, which then started even more controversy, which we'll go into later. And now, of course, recently, the community is incredibly divided over Clive. There are people very firmly on both sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, it's literally like a 50-50
thing. And an equal amount of people absolutely hate him, with some going as far as to say he'll destroy the game. It's been a lot.
Wow, really?
I don't think one single character this season hasn't come with controversy. Despite this though, I do have faith in the future seasons of Tekken. I think if the developers learn from their mistakes here, they have a good framework for future seasons. But what were those mistakes?
Yeah, I was about to say, and let me know your opinion in the comments below. What do you think are the mistakes of Tekken? I will say there was one thing I was not a fan of when the Heihachi DLC came out was you had to pay for a stage. I didn't like that. I think it was like $7 or something, like the $5, whatever it was. Paying for a stage, okay. But in Tekken's defense, they gave you the extra story for free. So in their defense, they did that. It was like, okay, they'll give you the stage free. Now you got to pay for the story. So it was like, which one do you want? And I will give it credit on this note too. It didn't do what Mortal Kombat did. Chaos Reign stuck, what was it, $50 paywall and you can't buy the character separately. Now, like, you have to wait for a while, and then you can get this one character separately, and then later this one, But when it first came out, you had to buy the $50 or $40 expansion to even play the story or anything like that. So Tekken gave you the story for free. So, in fairness to Tekken, it didn't do what Mortal Kombat did, because that was a bad business move of Mortal Kombat to have Chaos Reign come out the way it did. But yeah, let me know in the comment section what you think is the problem here with Tekken, that they could do better for season 2.
So much. To figure that out, we need to go back to where it all started. Eddie Gordo. Eddie Gordo was announced on January 16th, a full 10 days before the game even came out. And this naturally didn't bode well with people. This was a character who hadn't missed a game since his release.
I was about to say, it was probably because he's a main character.
Him in the base game, this already upset a lot of people, but making him a DLC character who they'd have to pay extra money for upset.
That is one thing I'm not a fan of with these fighting games is, and I say that with Mortal Kombat, I say it, Tekken, Street Fighter, whatever, is characters that are known to be a main character in the base game being DLC it's not a good move. It's not a good move, Sonya Blade, Eddie Gordo, just naming a few, Akuma, even though I don't think Akuma was in the base game. I don't know, I could be wrong. But just for example, Eddie Gordo, for example, using him, who's known to be in the main roster already as DLC, I never thought was a good idea. Whenever I saw that for like Mortal Kombat, like what was it in Combat Pack 1? Quan Chi. I always was like, wait, why is he DLC when he's in the main story? Why is Ermac a DLC character when he's in the main story? He should be with the main roster. Put somebody like Nightwolf, Fujin, someone that's not in the story as DLC characters. And so, yeah, I've always been not comfortable with that. In a way, I was like, okay, I would get it, but I wish they didn't do it. Because I ain't gonna lie, it didn't stop me from getting the DLC, but it was like you could have put somebody else there. You could have put somebody else. Why is Eddie just not on the main roster, even though in fairness, Tekken does give you a lot of character, but still, he should be on the main roster. Eddie Gordo. So I haven't liked that either.
And then there's the.
It wouldn't let me throw hate to the game, but
DLC reveals generate hype. But
it's like, please don't do that again.
Character before the game even comes out is always a pretty bad look. It really does make it seem like they developed the character alongside the game. And if that's the case, why not release him in the base game?
Yeah.
Well, it's because of money.
Yeah, I see that point.
I don't know anything about game development, but this is how it seems to the general public. It always seems scummy when companies do this. On the other side of it, lots of people were really happy with his inclusion. And
I like Eddie Gordo. I just wish he was on the main roster.
Different from previous games. That's one thing you really can't argue. They did a great job modernizing him into the Tekken 8 system. And that's something that applies to all the DLC characters, I think. Oh yeah, and around this time was when we had the whole DLC replay fiasco. I still have absolutely no idea why Bandai Namco thought this was a good idea. Restricting people from controlling their own characters in a replay if they were fighting against a DLC character they didn't own is purely predatory. Luckily, they fixed this in the most recent patch, but it is pretty crazy that
they did. I was about to say that's a money bag. This is like a money bag scheme.
And it didn't get better in the summer. They announced Lydia next, and the controversy got worse. Much worse. Not only was this another returning character, who most people thought should have been in the base game, but this was actually Namco reselling a Tekken 7 DLC character. And not just any DLC character, she was the final DLC character in the life of Tekken 7.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Most players had already bought Lydia a mere 3 years ago, and now have to buy her again.
Okay.
People were rightfully not happy about this. This is
I was wondering what the hate was for this character.
Fine. She feels different enough from her Tekken 7 counterpart, but she just wasn't the kind of character Tekken 8 needed at that time. People were just constantly criticizing the game during this time period. The unbalanced characters, the terrible battle pass, the plugging issue. What they needed here were characters who would generate hype in the larger community and win people back. And these first two picks just unfortunately were not those kind of characters. Eddie and Lydia are cool, don't get me wrong, but even if you love them, you have to admit they were a little anticlimactic for the first DLC.
You know what character that I was disappointed that wasn't announced, and I hope he gets announced in the new season, is is that say his name right? Lei Wulong. He always remind me of Jackie Chan back in the old Tekken days. Hold on, because now it's going to be stuck in my head if I don't figure out what the name was. Yeah, Lei Wulong. I loved using him in the old Tekken games, and to see him not in the main roster, I was like, dang, that stinks. He was in Tekken 7, right? Yeah, he was introduced in Tekken 2. Yeah, I used him a lot. If he was in the main game right now, I would have used him instead of Steve, but he's not, so I'll use Steve. But yeah, I used to use Lei a lot. And as the stinks that he's not even mentioned at all. Maybe he will be in the new season. We'll see.
Characters of the biggest new Tekken game ever. Combine this general feeling of disappointment with the leaks. Around this time, a huge leak came out claiming that the final 2 characters would again be Marduk and Fakumram. And this wasn't just a small leak. This one had credibility. It was made by the same guy who predicted a bunch of characters in the base roster like Reina, so pretty much everyone at this time accepted these leaks to be true, leading to even more disappointment and frustration. The idea of all 4 Season 1 DLC characters being returning characters, either from the base game or reselling as DLC from Tekken 7, was a terrifying thought. Luckily, these leaks were not accurate, which made for an even more hype reveal when they announced Heihachi's return as the 3rd DLC character. But before we talk about Heihachi, I want to quickly ask you guys that if you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. It's a really big help, pushing me towards my dreams of hopefully one day doing this as a job, and it lets me know that you guys are interested in seeing more scripted Tekken 8 content like this. Thank you guys so much, and let's get back to it. The hype was certainly here for this. Heihachi is a way bigger name than Eddie and Lydia, so that alone was enough for him to be a lot more liked. But because of Harada's constant lies about him being dead and everyone claiming with such certainty that he's
I had a feeling that was going to get some.
dead for real this time,
I had a feeling
he
people
made
would
his
not
way
like
back
that.
anyway, throwing everyone off.
You don't like when you lie.
Naturally, there was still a ton
Just
of
don't talk
controversy,
about him if you
and
was-
it really makes a lot of
But
sense
don't lie
if you think
about him.
it. At the end of the day, Heihachi is a legacy Tekken character who is in Tekken 7. They removed him from the Tekken 8 base roster and then sold him back to us at a hefty price. He's in the same boat as Eddie, and players definitely have a right to be mad at that. Many people just thought that the first 3 characters in the DLC pass should have been in the base game, and their reasoning for this is valid. You can't debate that.
Good
But naturally,
point.
he didn't see nearly as much hate and pushback as the others, because this is Heihachi.
That new
He's
map,
one of,
though,
if
that,
not the most popular
stage,
and
that had a
well-known
lot of
character
hate.
in
I
the
saw
Tekken
that.
franchise. And his inclusion, along with a whole new short story campaign, definitely drawed in the hype and attention.
Yeah, I
that
thought the
companies
story
are
was
looking
decent,
for with the
especially for it
DLC
being
reveals.
free.
When he finally came out, it seemed like an overall success. Left and right, you would hear players saying that he was amazingly designed and was the most fun character they had played in Tekken 8. I'd say this was a win overall, even though there was still a lot of controversy for him. And this paved the way for the last character. Looking at this objectively, Clive Rossfield was amazing for Tekken 8. He put a whole new set of eyes on the game.
Yeah, I thought it was
brought
good.
Many new players over. Guest characters just always have this impact. But unfortunately, he ended up being probably the most controversial character in the whole season. People were going to absolute war when he first got announced. The people who wanted Tifa were angry as they felt like she would have been a way better fit, and having one other Final Fantasy rep largely deconfirmed Tifa making it in the Tekken 8 roster. But also the huge amount of veterans who don't think swords and magic belong in Tekken. They were also very unhappy with his reveal. Combine this with the fact that we had already gotten Noctis, the protagonist of Final Fantasy 15 in the previous game, and he
I
was a
forgot he was
very
in
hated
7.
character, and it makes sense.
I ain't
why
gonna
people
front. I ain't
hated
gonna
him so
front though.
much.
Clive had me pay
People
attention to
went
Final
work
Fantasy
right
because
away
I
on
don't really
Twitter
know
making
much about that
claims and
franchise.
Videos saying that Clive reused all of Noctis's moves and was just Noctis 2.0. On the other hand, you had a huge amount of people who were completely won over by his trailer. You can't deny that he's by far the most
Yeah, I thought it was
flashy
cool.
character
He was,
in Tekken history, really.
very unique.
And this is naturally going to attract a ton of people. A huge amount of people were saying how awesome he looked and how this made them want to play Tekken for the first time ever. And since his release, people have realized that he really isn't a Noctis 2.0. He plays nothing like Noctis in Tekken
He has a
7,
lot
and
to
is actually
him
a very unique
from watching
feeling and
other
overall
people.
balanced character in my opinion. But you can see why this was an absolute war. When Clive first got revealed, people were at each other's throats on social media. And that wraps up the first season pass of Tekken 8. It was a very slow and rough start in my opinion, but I would say it picked up towards the end. I do understand though that there's a ton of people who just didn't get anything they wanted this season. That's the unfortunate reality. 4 characters is not a lot, not by any means. As time has gone on, game developers have offered less and less characters per
That's
season.
the thing. I wish they
with
offer
4
more
now being the
characters.
new industry standard, and this
Like
just means
2 in
more
one
and more
session.
people are going to keep being disappointed at the end of the day. Overall,
Like, you know, I was 4. It was Eddie, Lydia, Heihachi, and Clive. It should be Eddie and Lydia 1, Heihachi, Clive 2, 2 more, 2 more. Like 4 sessions, but 2 in each session. You know, in my opinion.
although I do have to say, this certainly wasn't the greatest start for the game's first season pass. It's a very mixed bag overall. But one thing I do have to commend them on is the balance. This is going to be getting its very own video soon, but surprisingly, every character in this season has been very well balanced. No super polarizing brain-dead top tiers who dominate the game, just solid, well-designed characters ranging from low tier to high tier. That's definitely a plus, especially considering how often developers make DLC characters ridiculously
I want to be really
strong
good at
nowadays.
Tekken, bro.
I can only hope that they
It's gonna take
continue
some
this trend
work,
going
but
into Season 2. And
with
for the
y'all
rest of
help,
the
we
game's
can get
life.
there.
We already have Anna basically soft revealed for Season 2. That means there's 3 other characters we don't know about. Stay tuned for another video coming very soon where we're going to be predicting in depth who those other 3 characters will be. But yeah,
It'd be cool if it's oh wait, what?
that's about all I got for this video.
Oh, okay. But it would be really cool if it's another Street Fighter character, like how Akuma showed up in Tekken 7. It'd be cool if like Ken or Ryu, yeah, sure, Ryu or someone like that shows up in Tekken 7 as a guest character. That would be cool. But someone told me that would be cool if Scorpion will be in Tekken 7, Tekken 8. I mean, it would be cool. I don't know. He might be misplaced though. But, you know, people say he worked in Injustice, but that's another realm game, so that's why it kind of worked. But yeah, I don't know. Ken looks like a better fit. But I mean, I ain't against Scorpion if it is, to be real with y'all. But anyway, so, I mean, it's some valid points. I like hearing it break down like that instead of just hearing people saying dead game. Like, that was a famous word, dead game. And I'm like, is my eyes full? I mean, there's a lot of people playing Tekken. Street Fighter 6, dead game. You know, that's the new thing now. There are people like, we're going back to Street Fighter 5. I personally, this is just my opinion. I think the ones who are saying that are playing the game a little too much, and you need to give it a break. Because then you hear these people, the ones that are complaining like that, you see how much playtime they got in that game. They got crazy amount of hours. They haven't barely went to bed. They don't give it a break and play something else. There's a stack ton of other games. They play that game every day, hours on end. It's like, okay, maybe the game ain't trash. Maybe you're just playing it too much. Or maybe because, and someone else said this too, maybe you're just mad because you can't get to, what is it, Masters or whatever the highest rank, Gods of Destruction, something like that. And so it's the game's fault, not your fault, so now it's trash. Whatever the case may be, in my opinion, I just think some people just need to take a break and expand their horizon with games. It's okay to play other games. You play the same one. Like me, I like fighting games, so I play different fighting games. I'm just stick to one because I don't want the burnout. I want to enjoy it. So, you know, but then I play something else. I go play Marvel Rivals. I go play some FIFA, whatever the case may be. You know, it keeps the fire burning when I do that. But, hey, I'm not, you know, going to assume they just, in my opinion, that's what it looks like. I could be wrong, though. But, yeah. All right, well, I mean, those are some valid points. So it was a lot better than what I've seen. These points was made a lot better than it was on when I see on social media like Twitter and stuff like that. Dead game for releasing this. And no really breakdown. They just said, oh no, one guy said it was unbalanced. I'm like, I could say nothing because I haven't put much time into the game to say it was balanced and unbalanced. But even he said for the most part, I mean, these characters, you know, there's no overpowered character. That's in his opinion. And someone else said it too. They was like, man, some people complaining because they're just not good at the game. So it's everybody else's fault. I know some people like that. But anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'll put his original video description below. And at least I got some answers. But if there's more that I don't know about why the people don't like the DLC, let me know in the comments below. But I'll check y'all later. See ya.